Wow. Another episode of the Vault of Cult. Where the fuck have we been? 6 months?
Where have we been? Just life's got in the way, gang.
This happens, guys. So... You know, we listen to plenty of shows that have a bit of a hiatus, sabbatical.
Yeah. I'm sure you won't be too mad at us. Yeah.
We're back though.
We are back.
We're back.
It was always this intention.
Yes.
So, look out for us, and we've got loads of stuff planned for you guys.
We have, guys. We have.
We'll make it up to you. We've got special stuff.
Oh yeah,
we'll make it. Yeah.
Precious specials.
Yeah.
Not a hint, maybe a hint.
Yeah.
If you get that, you're good.
So yeah, we've got loads coming for you, and
we're glad you're back.
We're back again.
Just like Shader.
Shady's back. But we're not that slim.
No.
So we're not slim shady.
No.
But we are pretty shady.
Well, I can be.
I'm pretty shady. I'm a bit shady.
He is a bit shady.
I am a bit shady. But, so where can they get us, Chris, if they want to talk to us?
If you want to talk to us, guys, we're obviously the
I asked you because I've forgotten. It's been 6 months.
I know, 6 months, literally. Yeah. Nearly 6 months, pretty much. So, yeah, guys, we're on Instagram at the Vault of Cult. Get us on there. You can get us on the Gmail. We're on the emails now.
Yeah, if you want a longer format, rant at us for any reason.
Again.
Where the fuck have you been?
Yeah, shout us.
I've been waiting. I've been sat for 6 months, bated breath.
No notifications.
You said it last one. See you next week with this. Next week, Kermit week after. Fuck all from you two.
Fuck all.
So send us your complaints to thevaultofcult@gmail.com.
That is the email, Get in touch, guys. You know, again, like Mark said, just have a rant.
Have a rant. Tell us off.
Because we are your favourite podcast.
We are.
And you deserve more.
You
do. This is exactly what you're going to get coming up.
So let's go. Shall we tell them what we're doing today then?
So this week's episode is
Se7en.
Se7en,
the thriller from 1995. Well, thriller horror.
It's a mystery thriller crime horror. Mystery thriller.
Yeah. We'll go with that.
We'll have that.
We'll have that. So
thanks for joining us again, guys. Welcome back.
All right, we might be hammering them now.
A little bit.
Right, so let's get on with it, shall we?
Let's. So, Mark, Se7en from 1995.
Yes.
The Brad Pitt / Morgan Freeman mystery crime thriller, drama-ish.
Crop thriller.
Crop.
So Se7en, 1995.
Let's give him some box office. Come on, guys, you know the format.
First, we'll just give him quick facts. Released by New Line Cinema. So, of Lord of the Rings fame, I suppose.
And Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. Quite a lot of Did they do
a lot of genre films.
Did they do The Evil Dead?
No, the original Evil Deads were independently produced by Ted
Raimi. Do they own it now?
I think they do own the rights to... It is New Line Cinema, the Evil Dead franchise now, but it was independent up until the remake.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Anyway, New Line Cinema, genre
New Line
cinema.
It released in the US and Canada on the 22nd of September 1995. It released in the UK in 1996 on the 5th of January 1996.
Wow, right, okay.
Yeah. The release dates were all over the shop. All countries.
Is that because...
Totally different times. I imagine because of, shall we say, the visceral nature of this film.
Yes.
A lot of their censoring authorities had things to say.
And,
had to have their input.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So they were all over the place. But interesting one, because we have picked on our good Australian friends a number of times for always getting it late. They got it before us. That is the interesting one. They got it on the 2nd of November 1995. So they got it before us. But yeah, wild, all over the place. Hungary didn't get it until November 1996.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that was the latest one that got it. Right. But all of it sharp.
That is a long release window.
Yeah, so I've just given you the US and the UK's and also thrown in a bit for the Aussies because we love you.
Yeah, we don't.
There. It's 127 minutes long. So
love it.
Yes.
Here we go, guys. We're in the golden time frame.
2 hours 10 minutes in it. So we got 2 hours. Yeah. 2 hours 12 minutes. Perfect. Really. Yeah.
It does.
And eats into your credits. Just over 2 hours long. good length that
like
for a film. For this sort of film, we do like that.
We do.
Yeah. I wonder whether
Bish, bash,
filmmakers can, I don't know, maybe have a look at their own...
Listen to the show, listen to what we're saying, because we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So anyway, let's do its financials, because that's always an interesting thing. So it had a budget of between 33 and 34 million. We'll call it three and a half.
Really,
very modest.
even for that time, modest.
Yeah, very modest indeed.
Small.
It made gross worldwide 328 million.
Super profit.
Well, it was 327 point blah 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 blah. It's 328. We're not into specifics.
Let's
here.
not.
So yeah, about 100 million of that were domestic in the US, and 228 million was international. So, about what we'd expect really for a successful film. Huge big chunk domestic, and then usually about doubled for
this
international.
thing, we've noticed that a lot.
Because because I don't know whether the Americans are aware of this, but
a lot of Americans do listen to the show.
Yeah, but just so that they're aware, more people don't live in America, you see, so more people tend to watch it. But we can't.
We are now. We're entering alienating a chunk of our listeners here, so
okay,
we still love you.
We still love you, but you just might not have been aware.
We still love you though. He's right.
So that's a big hit.
Good.
It's good money. Is that?
It is. That is good.
Yeah, and just from what I think about that, I think it deserves that amount of money. Well, we're not getting to that too much.
Yeah, okay. I get what you're saying from that. Yeah,
it's very successful.
I think it was one of them films. Again, we'll get onto it, like you say, where it was probably one of those films that grew in stature in terms of audience, not acceptance, but realising, because again we'll get onto it, guys, but it was a bit shaky in terms of the studio not sure of what they had on their hands.
Yeah,
from the get-go.
Yeah, we will be discussing
but we'll get onto that again.
But
there's correlation there, I think.
Yeah, there is correlation and causation.
So, guys, let's get on to the specifics in terms of
who did it?
Who did it?
Yeah. Let's get involved with who did what to who.
Well, the guy who poked them all about and made them do stuff while he pressed record on his camera was a guy called David Fincher. Now, David Fincher, for me, very interesting director. I really, really rate him. He's done some very, very interesting, very stylistic director, considering he was a music video director before he directed any films.
Vogue.
He did
Strike
Vogue.
a pose.
He did Vogue.
There's nothing to it.
And
Vogue.
Express Yourself. He did. He did. So he's won awards for basically his music videos.
I know. He definitely won an award for Vogue, didn't he?
He did.
It's a good music video.
Yeah. You can say,
old Donna, she did.
He's done a handful of very famous music videos. Dived into the world of movies with Alien 3. Now that, guys, is a fucking shit show.
I'd get
a shit show. That deserves a Vault viewing special on its own.
Do you know one
Google
thing that
Alien 3, guys, and look at the history behind that, the making of that film. Wow.
Yeah, it is an absolute shit show. There's one thing that I don't like that David Fincher does when he's talking about Alien 3. He just disowns it totally. And
he was fucked every day.
I know.
Every day on that film.
But you still did it, and it's like he's like, oh, I hate that. It's nothing to do. And he even says like, it's not one of my films.
Yeah.
And you're like, it is, David. Don't be.
It is stylistically very much.
Do you know what I mean? Don't do that. You made a shit film. It's got context, and I understand it. But you made a shit film.
Just own it.
That's the only thing. The only bad word that I've got to say about him personally is that.
And I think that gave him his next 4 or 5 films. It gave him his look.
Interestingly, though, this after that absolute shit show, this is his second film right after that, isn't it? Really,
a few years later,
you know what I mean? Alien 3. I beg your pardon. Aliens were the second one, wasn't it?
Aliens 3, Alien Resurrection.
Okay. So
which this
3
does have an
years
attachment.
later,
I kind of anyway. Go on.
Oh dear.
It has I've got an attachment between the Alien franchise and this film. Yeah.
Okay. So this to go from that, which is shall we say a bit of a box office, which is
it was
Aliens 3, Alien 3.
Yeah. Huge
to
backlash
this.
against that at the time.
Yeah. To this.
Wow.
So he turned that around.
Well, because I think this was out of left field, and the Alien franchise was a well-known franchise.
So
which is the studio. No matter what,
them alone.
Anyway, and he directed he's directed stuff like Panic Room, Curious Case of Benjamin Button, but
that film.
Zodiac.
I don't like Benjamin Button.
The first time I watched it, I thought, "Wow, this film's amazing," and then I've watched it.
Yeah, but no,
and then I watched
very
it
much
again, and I
the
was like,
same. I watched it. I'm like, wow, what a great film. And then I watched it, and I'm like, oh, it's all right film. Yeah. And then you watch it again, and you're like, oh, it's a bit shit. And then you're like, 100%. Oh, I fucking hate this story. And then I'm like, oh, I'm not watching it again.
I'm done.
Not watching
me and Benjamin are done.
Yeah, me and old Benjamin.
But he's been involved with a fucking absolutely one of the best things Netflix have ever made, in my opinion. A series called Mindhunter, and it's about the creation of the behavioural science unit at the FBI, based on a book by.
I've heard of that. I've never watched it. I have never watched it.
Viewers, if you're after something cerebral but super, basically.
Great word, cerebral.
Oh, mate,
wonderful.
I'd highly recommend it. It's one of the best things Netflix made. It's not for everyone. It's set in the late 70s, early 80s. There's 2 seasons. They only made 2 seasons, and mate, it's fucking amazing. And it's about they go and interview like the son of Sam and like all real life Edward Kemper, Charles, what's he called? Not
Manson.
Charles Manson.
Yeah.
Obviously he didn't actually kill anyone, but that's another story. But anyway, David Fincher, I really highly rate him. Fucking, I think he's tippy toppy, mate.
And
I love his. And again, I'll talk about it later.
Although
guys, but the style.
He did do one film that I don't think me and you were right fond of, also starring Brad Pitt.
Go on.
And didn't he do Fight Club?
He did do Fight Club.
That it's not what we're going to talk about. No. But me and Chris have opinions. So write in if you want those opinions.
Yeah, write in if you want us to talk about Fight Club, because that is a very interesting film.
It is a very it's a talker, is that?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Based on a book by Chuck Palahniuk, is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, so moving on. They're written by a guy called Andrew Kevin Walker. He actually wrote another kind of downbeat film called 8mm about snuff film starring Nick Cage.
Okay.
He dabbled with the scripts for Event Horizon. Really like that.
Event Horizon, yeah.
I like it. I've always been a fan. It's got a lot of hate on there, but
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill. Yeah. And it's about a spaceship that goes to hell and comes back. He's also dabbled in Fight Club scripts.
Fair bit of hell themes in his things. We'll come on to that.
Yeah.
But fair few hell themes. He also did or was involved in a film that I'm not going to say it's a good film, but I used to watch it a lot, which were Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. He did. He wrote that. He wrote that as well. Christopher Walken.
Bit of a weird film.
It is a bit of a weird film. But I like it. I know a lot of people don't.
Yeah, and I
know a lot of people don't.
It's one of those Tim Burton in the wilderness. He didn't know what he wanted to do.
He lost his way a little bit. He had lost his way, but I feel like it's also just a little bit before he went fucking mental as well, because Mr. Burton went a bit mental.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a lot of time for that film, but I know that's not a lot of people do. But I like that one.
Yeah, it's for me. I don't care. I wouldn't care to watch it again.
No, I get it, but I've got soft feelings about that Sleepy Hollow.
Time and a place and all that.
Time and a place.
So again, like Mark said, produced by New Line Cinema. So moving on to the cinematographer. By a guy called Darius Conjer, really, really famous cinematographer, and I fucking love his style. Again, have you seen, there's a French film that he did the cinematography for called City of Lost Children, really famous French fantasy film.
No, I haven't.
He also did Evita, cinematography on Evita, the Alan Parker film, and Don't Cry For Me, Argentina. That's
Another Madonna.
And Alien Resurrection, directed by, which was, see how we got the Alien connection
Yeah.
by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who also directed City of Lost Children.
Oh, okay.
But again, I'll get onto this later, guys. But the cinematography, this film is very again, it builds a very visual, very tactile world. The look of it, the browns, the yellows.
I've got quite a lot to say about the visual style of this
which
film.
really complements David Fincher, I think. Again, we'll get onto that. The music by Howard Shore, the famous Howard Shore, which is pretty much, for some weird reason, most of the films we've done on this podcast, he's done the fucking score for. So we did Lord of the Rings, which we are going to do a Lord of the Rings special. The Fly, the Jeff Goldblum, I'm getting better. And also he did Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, God.
And Silence of the Lambs.
I know, yeah. Oh,
we're not doing this on purpose.
I know, but connections, there they are.
Why? How?
There they are. It's almost
this
like
is the universe.
Yeah, I'd love to say we planned that, guys, but...
genuinely don't.
Yeah, we absolutely didn't. We're not that clever. Not being funny, guys, but we hadn't put that much thought into that. And we're like, oh, wow.
But fun, another little interesting thing.
That is a nice little interesting thing. So, who were in it?
Right, so Brad Pitt plays Detective David Mills. Obviously, he was in Fight Club, 12 Monkeys, Interview with the Vampire. Interesting, he did some interesting films in his beginning of his career.
I think Interview with a Vampire was the thing where he's like, oh, he's an actor all of a sudden. He's an actual actor.
Yes.
Because, he'd been in other things, like he went in Thelma and Louise.
He was a cameo as a stone on the set.
Yeah. Bit of a naughty boy, that bit.
Good film.
Love Thelma and
Good
Louise.
Film.
My mum's favourite film is Thelma and Louise. Yeah, she absolutely loves Thelma and Louise. So write in if you want us to talk about
Tony Scott, directed by Tony Scott.
Yeah.
Ridley's brother, Alien.
Ridley's brother.
He's dead
don't. We're going mad now with these connections.
I know, crazy guys. Morgan Freeman is the other lead. He plays Bill Somerset, Detective Bill Somerset. Obviously famous for...
Oh, you know what Morgan Freeman is, but
Driving Miss Daisy was in the Chris Nolan Batman films, Shawshank Redemption. The guy's just a legend.
And in this might be getting into a bit too much analysis this early on, but wow. In this, wow. Just wow. We'll come on to what's wow.
I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing.
Yeah, okay, but I just wanted to say that. Go on then, carry on.
Gwyneth Paltrow plays Brad Pitt's wife, Tracer. Mm-hmm. Kevin Spacey plays the serial killer John Doe. And that's pretty much the main cast. There's a couple of other notable actors, but in really, really tiny parts. Richard Roundtree's in it, I think. Shaft, the guy who played Shaft. Ali Emery's in it, who was in Full Metal Jacket as the sergeant.
He's a sergeant, police captain, yeah.
He plays that character. He's like a caricature now, isn't it?
Yeah. He's good at that. He knows what he's good at.
And obviously, Gwyneth Paltrow made a name in Shakespeare in Love. It won loads of awards. She's in Sliding Doors. All the Marvel films as Pepper Potts.
Her herself, the actress. She gets on my nerves 100%. A little bit. She gets on my nerves, but she's a good actress, especially in her heyday, which I think was around then. When this is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
she were in some good films, and I like Shakespeare in Love. I know it's not particularly your thing. I wouldn't have expected you to have seen it. Yeah. It's not your thing. It's not really your thing, but I really like it. Judi Dench in it, and
I know it's got Jim Broadbent. It's always something like that.
Jim Broadbent.
Who don't like Jim Broadbent?
Oh, I would say it's an historical set in Britain somewhere. It's like someone get Jim. He's already here. He's already here.
Like he won't be in the cast. You're fucking mad.
You're joking.
And obviously Kevin Spacey, he's going through some naughty things right now.
Well, Kevin, Jesus.
But, mate, in American Beauty, what a film.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's not there, is it?
Not there.
Like, the man's a
predator.
He's onsin ponsin nonsen, is this lad?
Yeah,
But, like, he's a good actor, though, isn't he? Like,
He was
a good actor, yeah. It's not there. You just have to say it.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
So Yeah.
He's in the, like you say, he's going through some shit right now. That
Well,
lad. He's in, he's in court at the minute.
In and out, yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much the main cast. That's who did what to who.
Yeah.
So we've covered that.
It is. Shall we have some fun facts to have fun with?
I think fun facts would be a really fucking good idea right now.
It would be quite fun, wouldn't it? So yeah, this film, and this is linking into what you were saying with I don't think the studios knew what they had on their hands.
Yeah.
Test audiences did not like this film.
Not surprised.
They did not like this film. It was not expected to do well because test audience thought it was violent, gory, to the point of gratuity.
Do we ever see on-screen violence?
Not much, no.
We don't.
But remember though that this is 1995. We are sitting now in the year of our Lord AD 2023, and we have had a lot of much more violent films come out.
Don't tell the BBS do that.
Oh God, don't tell them. Don't get this
shit again.
Yeah, shit, fucking hell. Even with Mary Whitehouse dead,
she's still clutching him now in a grave.
But that was their experience at the time, and maybe we'll come on to when we're talking about it that seems strange to us now. But yeah, that was the test audience response to it. But even though the test audiences thought that this won't make any money, or the studios, because of the test audience,
sure at all.
It ended up being the 7th highest grossing film of the year.
And look how much money it made.
I know,
worldwide.
but ain't that weird? It's called Seven. It's about the 7 deadly sins. It was the 7th highest grossing film. Ain't weird?
Yeah,
it's not there, is it?
Isn't that Jesus 777?
No.
What's that?
Oh, I don't know.
Just 37.
It's just yeah. It's just 37. It's just because it's called 7. Listen, we're thinking too much about it now.
Okay.
The writer, what's his face?
Andrew Kevin Walker.
Yeah, he used to live in quite a nice suburby part of Pennsylvania. I don't know where, probably at the outskirts of Philadelphia somewhere. But he moved to New York to work for, I think it was a radio company or something like that.
All right, okay.
And he was shocked by how dark and gritty. Shocked.
I'm shocked at this.
Shocked and appalled by how dark and gritty and just naughty the city was, and that's big influence on him.
You can see that.
And you can see. I think you can see it in this film. So he began writing Seven in 1991. He'd moved to New York in 1987. He began writing it in 1991, and interestingly, didn't have a working title. This film was always called Seven, which is interesting because normally, most films have like a shit working title.
Especially the 90s. The 90s. It wouldn't necessarily be a film with just a you know what I mean, like a number.
Yeah. Oh, and obviously, and this is one of the first films
where it's a number spelled out. What's that called? You're smart.
I'm sure. Well, I am. Yes, thank you.
No,
he says modestly, but I don't know.
Right,
it's been the answer to that. It does have a word.
It does have a word.
Also, this is one of the first films that I can remember where the title has. It's written out, but also on the marketing, it had the number 7.
The V.
And that happens all the time. Can anyone remember the shit fucking Fantastic Four film? Fan Four Stick. Less said about that, the better. But it's like that. This is the first one I can remember having
stylistic.
Doing that.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
Edgy mid-90s though.
Yeah, I don't like it much. A bit prickish, but that's what they did.
Yeah,
they did what they did.
It's true story.
Right, so when he was writing it and he'd noticed all these crimes, like he said, he'd just be walking down the street and he said you'd see like sins of every kind on the street corners, and he wanted to write this to show this oppressive feeling of like everything's dark and everything's shit. I don't think he much enjoyed being in New York by the sound of it.
But again, that's interesting because I do feel like this film, I'll get onto it, but the tone is very much, it's fucked. The world's fucked.
Yeah, he said that he wanted the audience to feel violated and exhausted by the end of it, and in a sort of this is the state of the world kind of thing.
That, yeah.
And I can see what he was trying to achieve. We'll come on to whether he succeeded in that venture, but that's what he wanted. It was initially bought and optioned by an Italian filmmaking firm called Penta Films. The original
Italian film industry, sorry to interrupt, was pretty much on its arse then, though.
Well, this company, Penta Films, will go bankrupt in 1994.
There you go.
Anyway, so that's just proves
it was
what
the
you're
Italian
saying.
industry in the 90s.
The initial director was a man called Jeremiah S. Chekic. I believe I'm saying that right. Who directed National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Which is a fucking great film.
It is a great film, different film altogether
100%.
to this sort of thing.
You're going both ends of the rainbow here.
And they were the first people who had a bit of a problem. Penta and Chekic wanted a lot of rewrites. The writer had to rewrite it 13 times, and he was like, I'm not enjoying this, I don't like it. Well, eventually Penta went under anyway in 1994, and it was bought by the producer, a fella called Arnold Kopelson.
Actually, go on, sorry.
And he gave it to New Line. He took it to New Line, and they were like, "Oh, we can do something with this." But that Chekic at that point seemingly must have gone arm out then.
Well, saying that, it's Italian cinema, their big genre from the 60s onwards, especially until the collapse of their domestic filmmaking feats. Was a genre called Giallo, which is translated as yellow, murder mysteries about serial killers and stuff like that. So I can kind of see how this could be framed as a Giallo.
Yeah.
Again, guys, if you're not into cinema and stuff, it's GIALLO. Google that and just do a bit of research. I'm a big fan of that genre. So anyway, I'm just making a point. No wonder an Italian film studio was like, we need to rewrite this until it fits more into a Giallo, which is a murder mystery thing.
But the writer was not happy with that, and then this fella Andrew and Arnold Kopelson bought the script, but in its original form, not after its rewrites, and he took it to New Line, and that's where it remained. They initially didn't go and ask David Fincher
to direct. He got sent the script by mistake, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know whether it were by mistake or whether it were like he was no one's first choice. Do you know what I mean? I've got that it sort of finally landed with David Fincher, but it was no one's first choice.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't you be after
their first choice was Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, he had a very similar. They did mimic and stuff. His early kind of in Hollywood type thing.
Yeah.
I go, okay, I can see that. I can
definitely see it. It'd be a different-ish film.
Yeah.
But like,
I can see his vision though.
Yeah.
It's easy to see. Interesting, but not his type of film.
But he were a flat no, and so after shopping it about a bit, they'd land on David Fincher, who it seems
nothing to lose.
Yeah, he was like, go on then.
Yeah.
Go on then. After the debacle of Alien 3, it was like, yeah. He thought,
not his fault.
Fine.
It's not David. Let it go. It's not your fault. We all know it isn't your fault.
And he also, at that point, was in a bit of a dark place in his career. Obviously, after that, so he wanted the film to be very visceral and dark. Also,
if he's going to do it, bang! I'm going to give you something.
He sort of matched what the writer wanted as well. He were very much, and they have worked together since, I believe.
Fight Club, dabbled.
Yeah. Fight Club, and a more recent thing for Netflix as well.
Yeah, I think it's called The Killer Star. That.
I've never seen it.
I don't think it's out yet.
Oh,
I don't think it's out yet. No, I don't even think it's out yet. But I think it's called The Killer, about a serial killer or something.
So they clearly in some way a bit of a meeting of minds here. They're both in a bit of a dark place with their writing and their directing. And it's
but if it gives us something interesting, I'm all in.
But even though it went to New Line, so we talked about Penta wanting to change it a lot. Even New Line were about like, I'm not
tone
really
and the
sure
ending.
of the tone, particularly the ending. Yeah. Now, what is fun about that? David Fincher David Fincher was having his arse chewed out by New Line, right? Change that ending.
Yeah. It's well known.
We won't get too much into spoilers, but the ending is dramatic.
Yes. A full stop.
Yeah, it is very much a full stop. But they wanted him to change the ending. I'm gonna have to give some kind of spoiler.
Come on,
here,
you know, really. Everyone knows what happens at the end of Seven. If you spoiler alert.
Basically, Brad Pitt's wife.
Yeah, John Doe. John Doe has killed his wife.
Killed his wife and put her head in the box and sent it to him, and thus forcing him, Brad Pitt's character, into the situation where he's got to kill him. Yeah. Where he will be the final sin. He will become Wrath.
Yes.
But studio didn't like it. The studio suggested, why don't, instead of Gwyneth Paltrow's head, they put one of Brad Pitt's, the character's dog's head in it. And you're like, it's not the same, though, is it? Everyone loves it. Everyone loves a dog, but it's a bit like...
Let's not do that.
But what is interesting, Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman weighed in. They were like, we're not having our names attached to this film if you take that out. Really interesting that the actors really stood up for it and was like, you're not changing it.
I would have.
Yeah, no, I would have. Absolutely.
That is what we're doing. That's what I signed up for. That is the ending to this story.
Yeah, and they absolutely were like, no, we're doing that. And New Line, to their credit, I suppose, caved. And allowed Mr. Fincher and Mr. Pitt and Mr. Freeman to have their way with it.
Why does he always talk like that, though?
Morgan Freeman.
My name's Morgan Freeman.
Well, it's soothing, isn't it?
I like it.
It's morning in America.
We are going to catch the killer.
Yeah. I like it.
I do. I like that.
Well, talking of what we like and dislike, why don't we get into that? So go.
The synopsis, basically. For people who we got to put it in
for all three of you who haven't seen this film.
So the film it follows near retirement Detective Somerset and newly transferred partner Detective Mills as they attempt to stop a serial killer before he can complete a series of murders based on the 7 deadly sins. Mm-hmm. Fair to say, they don't succeed.
No,
but the journey there is fucking long, arduous, dark, painful.
Yeah,
they're not prepared for it.
Mm-hmm. So they're not prepared. They're not. So what did you like?
Right. So for a kick-off, the titles are fucking really, really good. 9 Inch Nails with his journals. Mm-hmm. Really, I'm pulling me in that.
Yeah.
Pull me in. I think. Like you hinted at that, I think both leads are fucking great in this.
Absolutely, yeah. So here we go then.
We're in now.
We're in.
When we're off.
These two, honest to God, stellar performances. 100%. I would go so far as to say maybe one of Morgan Freeman's best parts.
Agreed.
Absolutely. And Brad Pitt, actually, coming to him. Yeah. Now, I've a lot of place in my heart for Brad Pitt in Interview with the Vampire. I really like Interview with the Vampire.
Again, I don't hate him, but I don't rate him.
No, I get
you know
that.
What I mean?
And he has thrown me off as our Bradley, now and again.
Yeah, but he's done... Oh, all right, you're doing that. Right.
Yeah, old Bradders. But,
Bradders.
Okay, yeah, Bradders Pittus. Yeah, he has thrown me off now and again, but sometimes I think he can be a really good elevated actor if he puts his mind to it.
Yeah.
And he's one of them where I think if he likes the script, he's there. He's 100% in.
Yeah.
He doesn't half-arse it.
No.
As well, Morgan Freeman, absolutely. This role almost made for him. entirely believe him that he's in this part 100% the whole time.
The thing what's interesting is you've got, and we've seen it before, you get a partnership where one guy's is world weary, he's seen it all, he's at the end of the road of his career, he just wants to stop. He's like, I've seen too much. I've seen too much and I'm done now. And I want to live the rest of my life not having to say anymore. And Brad Pitt's this up and coming, go get him, come on, I'm fucking ready here, like gung-ho, he's got this attitude, he's very hot-headed.
In many ways, it's very tropey, this, that you had old world-weary detective.
This is what I mean.
And the young, almost stars in his eyes, kind
something to prove to himself and the world.
I really want to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's... They're so good together. They have good chemistry. Their conversations, even... What would be in another film, almost throwaway bits of exposition are just thrown in there in such a way where you believe that these two people on this journey have had that conversation.
Yeah,
at no point did I think these are actors acting.
Yeah,
do you know?
It builds that, you see that, and it builds their relationship in a good way where. They're very wary of each other at the beginning, and Morgan Freeman starts to warm, even so much so where he has that conversation about children with her, and she fucking, you're a stranger, I'm opening up to you, I'm going to tell you something personal, I'm pregnant, and she says his last girlfriend, he didn't want to bring a kid into the world, and blah, 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 she had fucking abortion, and blah, 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 and he's like, it's up to you now, mate.
Yeah. It's
all very they try to build like it's
very real.
It's really good.
All the characters. Let's give them. I really like Gwyneth Paltrow in it. She for the part that she is written to play. I quite like her because I think I can tell that she doesn't really want to be there in this city. Oh, and that's an interesting thing. They never say what city they're in. Never say it's always this place. Yeah. Right. You can tell she
filmed in LA though. Filmed in LA.
Yeah. But you can tell she doesn't want to be there, but she's willing to make the best of it because she loves him.
Yeah.
And I think that comes across.
Yeah.
And
she's following his dream and
and Kevin Spacey, wild. Like that
he doesn't have many lines to say, but he has a massive impact.
Yeah. Kevin Spacey, I'd say I'm not going to go so far as to say that it's his best part because, like we say, we've had the American Beauty, but he is really good in it as well.
Yeah,
and he won praise as well off critics and audiences alike.
Interesting because that the character of John Doe, we never see him kill anyone.
No,
we only see the aftermath, and the only violence we see in the film is against the main characters, where the rooftop chase, where you find out is the fucking photographer and he's taking pictures of him and he's following him, and like serial killers do, they go back to the scene of the crime, and obviously they go to his house, find his gaff of all the crazy mad shit in there. And obviously when he shoots, spoiler alert, Brad Pitt shoots him in the head at the end. So I find that a really interesting thing in a film where, again, we touched upon before about they were scared about the violence and the censorship and stuff, and obviously now these days we've seen so much. But now going back to it doesn't need it on. The aftermath is more horrific.
I don't think we need to see. Because that was one word that stood out to me when I was researching for my fun facts. That audience at the time thought it was gratuitous. And I can't see gratuity.
No.
I can see viscera.
Yeah.
I can see danger, threat, and I can see a certain level of violence. Let's not pretend it's not there. It's violent acts that have been committed.
Well, the thing is, right, let's go through them.
I can't see gratuity.
It's not. So let's go through the actual, let's go through the sins. Okay, we'll get that out of the way. So, gluttony. So basically there's a guy who he's force-fed him until he dies.
Yeah.
Basically.
That's that to me is pretty good. That's pretty grim. It starts off grim.
Yeah.
Do you know
And then
what
they
I mean?
start, and then what's interesting is each scene, each murder scene they investigate has clues for the next one, and do you know what I mean? Quite clever. So the next victim we see is Greed, where this person is forced to cut a pound of flesh
from
themselves.
Yeah.
So that's quite, like you say, visceral. It's not.
It's not visceral as in we see it, but it's
the thought should be more disturbing.
And it's like you say, it is always the aftermath, and that's supposed to make you think that this killer is, for one step ahead.
Yeah.
That entire time they're chasing him. The whole
Do
time.
you know what as well?
They
would never have caught him, Mark.
No, I know.
And he hands himself in.
I know,
They would never caught him.
He wants to be found. And that's
talking about like the viscera. The next victim, Sloth. Man, he's got him on a bed and he's drugged him every day for a year, and he sees
one of the surprisingly few jump scares.
Yeah, jump scare.
This is
the makeup
for
fantastic.
Those actors thought it were a puppet. They didn't like.
Weren't that a real reaction as well?
It were a real reaction.
They didn't rehearse it. They were like,
they didn't
get
rehearse
closer
it.
than you.
They were like, get closer, and then he went, ah, and
real reaction. I'm sure. That's true.
Brad Pitt, you need to watch Brad Pitt at that, because the camera's on it's not on him, it's on the thing.
Because he's looking through the.
But the first place it go watch Brad Pitt, because he shits it. He genuinely shits himself.
And then Lust. This is quite a gruesome scene, though.
This is the one that sent me
with the rape by that knife, like that strap-on knife thing.
That's horrid. That.
And he's like the guy's shaking. He's like,
because he's been
held the gun to
forced.
his head. Yeah, he said, "Fuck her" with this mad contraption, and he just literally this huge fucking knife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. Even the thought of it's thinking. The next one is Pride with the model. Disfigured, she commits suicide because she can't live without being beautiful. And then obviously we come to the end, which is envy and wrath.
Yeah.
Which is he's envious of his life, because he says to him on the car journey to the desert. So basically they capture him and he says, I'll take you to my next two victims. So him and Morgan Freeman, Detective Mills and Somerset, take him to the middle of nowhere. And he starts ranting all this things about, you don't realise how perfect your life is. And he's like, oh, you're just chatting shit. And Morgan Freeman's like, this guy's dark. This guy, he knows he's dangerous.
He knows he's dangerous.
And obviously Brad Pitt being the hothead, he's just like, fuck you, motherfucker. You just blah, blah, blah. You just damn me.
You can see what I really like about it. You can slow it. You can see it dawning on Somerset, on Morgan Freeman's character of, we're being led into something.
Yeah.
He can tell,
because even the guys in the helicopter, they're all panicking. They're like, "What is going on here?" And then you see a van pull up, and he's like, "I've got a package here." Pulls it out, and he's like, opens it, and he's like, "Don't come over there. What is it?" And he's like, "What is it? What is it? What is it?" And he knows. Even the quiver in his voice on like the second or third time he asks him. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You can hear it, and you're like, he knows it's. He knows. He fucking knows this is bad. This is bad shit. This. Yeah. And Morgan Freeman's like, I think it not only does shooting him in the head, it puts a full stop on Brad Pitt's life, Morgan Freeman's life, and John Doe's life. And
it's like, bang, they will never be the same again.
And they're not prepared for the case, mate. They're going in. And Morgan Freeman, after like the third and fourth, he's like, he's not going to stop.
Yeah, he asks to be taken off of the case.
He goes, I can't deal. I don't want it. I can't.
Yeah, I'm
knows.
that near to retire. I don't want this. This can't be my last case.
Because he knows.
He knows. He does now.
Because again, two brilliant actors in this. In these roles.
In these roles, two actors, top of their game. So good.
The chase scene is pretty tense as well.
It is pretty tense. My one and only criticism at the time when I was watching it, I was like, oh, okay, we get it now. I thought maybe a bit long, the chase.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I thought maybe a little bit long because we're chasing him down, like through the building, down the fucking the fire escapes, and through the fucking. We're like, get it. I was when I was watching it. I'm now fine with it, having watched the whole film. But when I was watching it, it was like, oh, all right, we get it. Catch him or don't.
I think you're missing it. I think the point of that is to go. No matter what they do, they're never going to catch him.
Yeah, I get that. Having seen the whole film, but at the time when I was watching it, like my eyes are physically on the screen. I was like, "Oh, all right, I get it. Catch him or don't."
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Scene end now.
But I do think that represents
is my one and only.
Okay,
for that.
Oh, let me get my only criticism out of the way.
Oh, go on.
I think sometimes there's a just a slight dip in quality in terms of script. Only a couple of times. Yeah, only a couple of times. I'm moving on now. I've made my point.
Okay.
I made my point.
Yeah, I suppose.
But the good chase scene, and again, the tone of it is bleak, dark, downbeat. You're in a city here that's fucked. Life is fucked. Mills is fucked.
This place is
Somerset's fucked.
Yeah,
You're
literally
fucked.
Dripping with ominous suspense. Dripping is the word. It is slinging it down every 2 seconds, and it's the dark noise, and brown.
Have you noticed
gritty.
That it's constantly like horns beeping and it's noise and there's people on the like busy, and I think that represents this dark shit. You can walk past it all the time.
Do you know what it represents? And it's almost on the nose with the thing. It is almost hell. It's supposed to be almost
Inferno.
Hell on earth. It is Dante's Inferno, which is literally referenced in the film.
Yeah.
And just a bit of context, because I do love
you too,
talking.
Come on.
Dante's Inferno is where Dante goes into hell and has to go through each of the 7 circles of hell, each one of which are lust, gluttony, blah, 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 all of them. And he's accompanied by a spirit, an old wise spirit called Virgil. And I think very much that this is almost not a retelling, but it's almost like a retelling. Brad Pitt's character.
It's a re-representation of the material.
He's Dante. And Somerset is Virgil, the old wise one, almost trying to lead him through into hell. And it's very good. It's very good. It's almost like the city itself
You're right. I
is
agree.
hell.
Yeah.
With a replaying of Dante's Inferno, which I think is just fantastic. I mean, Dante's Inferno is one of the greatest pieces of literature that's ever been written.
Everyone knows I've heard of
it. But I think that's what it is. That's a very on the nose thing. That's what they were trying to do.
And I think that each murder is a very creative way of representing those sins in. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? In that way.
I agree.
Clever.
And cleverly done.
In the context of a serial killer, it hits the mark massively.
Yeah, and it gives you the dread. Like I say, this whole city is dripping with dread and menace.
It is,
and those murder scenes.
We talk about a lot. The tone and the atmosphere.
That's really what conveys the terror of this serial killer in this film is the tone, and that they discover it after the fact, and that it's violent, but I think a film now would show us a bit too much.
100%. It'd
spoil what I mean? And it'd spoil it. And no, this absolutely sublime that they just get there. It's not even a bit too late. It's miles too late to say way behind him. He's literally 10 steps ahead of him.
Again, I get there's a lot for me I've seen in that film where it keeps signposting. They're always going to be behind. They're never going to get him.
Never going to get him.
And
and that's also linking into the Inferno thing, they're never going to get him, just like the people in hell are never going to get salvation.
Yeah.
They're in hell, they're damned.
Yeah, you're on that path. That's
you're right. Yeah, there is no going back. At the beginning of Dante's Inferno, it says, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." And you enter the gates, and I think that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
There is no hope in this place. There's nothing. That's why Somerset wants to get out.
Okay,
just like Virgil in the Inferno, he wants to leave, but he can't. He can't ever leave that. He's damned. He's a damned soul, and this new person who's just been brought into it, and he's trying to say to him, "Why did you want to come here?" Almost to try and say, "Leave now. You've got all of your career.
Yeah.
Go. Don't come into this." And like Dante, no, he wants to go in.
Listen, who said people that just watch films can't start shit? There you go. There's an example.
Yeah.
And that's what the kind of thing you get on this podcast.
Yeah, no, that just to toot my own arm, by the way, there was a touch of deep analysis there.
No. Well, we're capable of it.
We are very capable of it.
Very capable of it. But yeah, one thing I did notice, if we're talking, just a little bit, again, I've mentioned it before, I love Darius Conji's production design, and the production design is fantastic. Cinematographer is fantastic. Yeah. Have you noticed that most of the shots are low?
Yeah.
Down, we're going down.
We are
Think
going
about
down.
It.
Down where?
Exactly.
Down where?
Yeah, exactly. Low. A lot. Yeah. Most of the shots in that film, mate, are low.
I like the colour palette that it shows. That it's great. It's greys and browns.
Yeah.
All the time. Now,
gritty.
Will that go on?
You can see the grime on the wall. Do you know what I mean?
Will that go on to be overdone? Yeah, I think it will be. Like a lot of films, and particularly games and stuff like that, will become very brown, shall we say?
And if you watch The City of Lost Children and Alien Resurrection, and this film have super similar colour palettes in terms of cinematographer.
I do think that's interesting that they constantly go down to that that dark colour. And like you were saying as well, I love the choice that was made for it always to be chucking it down. Just absolutely dripping and oppressive all the time.
It's not just like that. It's not spitting.
It's slanging it down.
It's absolutely twatting it down.
It is absolutely twatting it down. Absolutely. And I love that decision. That is one decision where, and we've both said this, that we love these kinds of decisions where they didn't have to do it, and it wouldn't have ruined the film if they didn't make it, but what a good decision for him to make it. It wouldn't have ruined the film if they didn't, but I just love that.
What about?
What about?
Yeah, we'll do that.
One of them said, "What about we have it shitting it down every 2 minutes, all the time,
piss wet through 24/7."
Let's do that, because even just your own physical psychology. Are you ever in a good mood when you've got to walk through absolute pissing down rain? You're never in a good mood, are you? It ruins your day. Absolutely ruins your day. What a brilliant nothing of a choice. Yeah. And I love a nothing of a choice.
We have mentioned it before on the show, guys. Yeah. So come on, let's talk about our thoughts about the film in terms of...
We've not been doing that. No, I know what you mean.
Final thoughts section.
Well, I do think it's interesting that it's a very influential film, this, of what it will go on to spawn. I think a lot of films that are reaching for the same psychological horror don't reach this level, if you know what I mean. Like,
I agree. After this film, there were several attempts at this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going into examples,
well, like one example, I think that doesn't reach it, but what's it called? The fucking Hannibal Lecter film that is but not.
What
the remake of Manhunter?
Oh, Red Dragon.
Red Dragon.
But even Manhunter's
yeah, I know.
amazing.
Great film, Manhunter. But I feel like Red Dragon were going for this kind of aesthetic like this, and I don't think it particularly succeeds.
Again, this influenced a lot of these.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. For a long while afterwards, into the early 2000s.
And like I say, I think, as we already not hinted at, overtly said, that this gets the violence and the viscera right, but from them, people take. Some directors and this genre take it too far.
Yeah, because they go, well, I've got to show, I'm going to show that to do one that you didn't.
Yeah,
do.
and it ends up you end up with stuff like the Saw franchise, which I've I don't know how you feel, but I've not even the slightest bit of time for.
I've seen them all up today. Yeah, shine.
Not interested. Can't be arsed with them.
You're not missing anything.
But that to me is an example of gratuity. But it's not.
Agreed.
It's not there to say that wouldn't have been.
No,
made
but again, I think it's more psychological because the thought of seeing the aftermath and thinking, "Oh shit!" Do you know what I mean? I think that is more horrible than fucking.
No, I agree. But that's sort of what I'm saying. Franchises take entirely the wrong message from this. Some franchises, like the Saw franchise, like fucking shit like Hostel, where it's just it's gratuity. It's just sheer viscera for no reason.
Yeah, for the fuck of it. Yeah, and that's not interesting at all.
Yeah, it's
not interesting.
It's boring and dull. And so, in a slight negative, I think that this film negatively influenced this genre a little bit, but it's not this film's fault. I think a lot of...
No, because this was... you know, I mean, how many times have we said on the show where we have a film that kind of is the first of a couple of films that start away for the next 5-10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all them after that aren't as good.
No,
facts,
no, yeah.
Just facts.
It is, and facts are facts.
You might get an interesting one or two to go, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's not as good. You know, or it's never better it, basically.
So I think very, very influential film.
Yes. For the actors' careers, for that kind of genre, that style.
They're up and up and up now. Because I think if you like early Brad Pitt, not
Thelma and Louise,
Thelma and Louise,
like Interview the Vampire early.
Yeah,
because that was before this.
Yeah, I think if you think early Brad Pitt, I think you either like this Interview with a Vampire or Fight Club.
Yeah,
when he's
Fight Club
in
was
that,
99, I think.
Yeah, his run in the 90s with this. This is one of Brad Pitt's iconic films.
Yeah, 100% agree.
I think this is one of Morgan Freeman's iconic films as well. This and Shawshank, really.
Agree,
you know. So, and when was Shawshank? I forget. I haven't got it written down, which is annoying.
It's after this?
It is after this.
It's after this.
Yeah,
a couple of years after, I think. I think Shawshank's 96, 97.
And again, I mean, not that Morgan Freeman needed much of a leg up for his career, but like, it did really make for both of them, really, and Kevin Spacey, I suppose.
So, go on then. Give us a number. Give me a number.
Right. I'm gonna say I am havering a little bit. I'm going to give this a 9.
Okay.
I am going to give it a 9.
I will match that 9. And my reason for that is I think this is, and it has been since I've seen it, it's a film I fucking really enjoy watching. I really like a lot. Again, obviously, you know, you've just heard us talk about it for the last hour, guys. You know, gush about this film. Is it a masterpiece? No.
No,
is it just underneath that? Yeah,
it's absolutely reaching for that.
And I think the appreciation that it only gets better for it with age.
I think this is one of right. I was havering over an 8 and a 9.
Can't be any more. It can't be any more than a 9. But
no,
I can see who's going to go an 8 on, and I can see that.
I was thinking I was going to say an 8 because this is not my genre, guys.
I'm a fan. Yeah. Anyway.
So I was like, I'd give it an 8 only because it's not my genre, and I'm like, that's not good enough thing to say. It deserves the 9.
It does.
Because even though it's not my genre, I can say that this is probably one of the best examples
100%.
of the genre.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I'm glad you agree with that.
It is. No, I was going to say 9 anyway. My mind was went up because it's a film again. You know, I've you know, since it come out, you know, I thought it was a fantastic film. Again, you know, because of I really like the director, the performances. You know, I think it's got a lot. You know, we only talk. Come on, guys. You know, we only talk about fucking good shit on this show. You know, we're pulling stuff out here of these films like interesting. We always said we want to talk about. You might go, you're doing a show on that, but it's interesting.
It's interesting. It's
and
worth
hopefully,
talking
again,
about
guys, you know, thanks for joining us again after our little 6-month hiatus.
Yeah,
but again,
sabbatical.
I hope you've enjoyed the show. We've enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, so thanks again for joining us. We hope you join us again on our next one.
Yeah, please do, and we're glad to be back.
We're back, guys. We're back. So let's see what happens from here. So it's a big thank you, and we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, so fare thee well, and in a bit, Skip.